It's the first day of May. Spring is in the air. Pollen and such. And I don't know. It's playoff hockey. I don't know what the hell I'm getting at. I'm just winging it at this point. It's the off season for the Flyers. We just talk about whatever. But Quigster, I saw you were enjoying some May time Phillies activity last night. And hell of a game for the Fightins. That was a win tonight. Not so much. We're recording this on Thursday night. But you went to an interesting game, but I saw you had more fun after the game than necessarily at the game.
Stove. It was a wonderful night. It was a terrific night. Went to the Phils game. Me and my kickball team. It was a great time. And
beautiful night. Absolutely perfect spring weather for that.
Literally like one of the better baseball weather games that I've been to. It was incredible weather from, start to finish. It was just great. And so we went. Phil's got the dub, so that was cool. Schwarber hit a homer, so that was also really, really cool. I missed it because I was taking a photo of a cloud.
You missed the Schwarbomb for a cloud.
I missed the Schwarbomb, so I was real fucking mad about that. But what I did not miss was the Fanatic dancing with Santa Claus for no reason. Santa was at the game, as he should be. Go Phils.
As he should be. No snowballs. He's not going to get hit with any snowballs in May, so maybe that's why Santa was there.
Exactly. But after the game, we did as anyone should after a Phils win, and we went to Xfinity Live, and I made my second appearance at PBR. And the first time I was there, I did not ride the bull. Last night, rode that bitch, Steve. And,
there you go. You rode the bull.
I timed it, and I believe I was on the bull for, according to video evidence, at least 16 seconds.
That's impressive. I mean, I've never ridden a bull, but I feel like I'm not lasting like more than 10 seconds.
It was fucking hard, dude. Because I think the hardest part is so you have to squeeze your inner thighs or quads or whatever the hell it is, your inner legs. You have to squeeze them, and then you have to you gotta hold on to the thing. There's a little strap you gotta hold on to, and it hurts your hand, dude, because you're being yanked everywhere, and I think that hurt the most.
That's a great one to have out of context there. That's an amazing out of context clip right there. It hurts your hands. You're being yanked everywhere.
Yeah, man. You're just being cranked and yanked all over the place.
Yeah, so. As one does. As one does at PBR bar at Xfinity. But I'm glad you rode the bull. I'm glad you had a good time there. I still have not ridden the bull. I don't think it's happening.
Can I just say, on the topic of Xfinity Live, what's the name of the pizza place in there?
Is it the place with the gigantic slices?
The worst pizza I've ever had.
Is it Lorenzo's?
I can't. Maybe. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm not here to besmirch Lorenzo's, the home of the original giant slice, but
I can't remember if it's Lorenzo's or not. But it is absolute. Every time I've gone to PB or to Xfinity Live, I have gotten that slice, and I will say to this establishment's credit, the first 2 times I went, the pizza at least looked good. It didn't taste that great, but it's pizza, so I'm going to enjoy it.
Sure.
Last night, what I saw with my own 2 eyes should not be served to the public at all. It looked like middle school cafeteria pizza. It was so gross. And I was going to get a slice, and then I saw it, and I was like, what the fuck happened? This is
unfortunate. That's unfortunate. Yeah. That's one of those brands that, while it was never the very best, it was always at least a fun novelty experience to go to South Street and get the giant Lorenzo slice. And it's really been watered down by going to the stadium area and expanding much in the way that I really feel oh my God, what the hell is Tony Luke's? Tony Luke's used to be I think a top tier cheesesteak, and it's still fine, but since it expanded, and there was a feud because now it's what is the one? The original location is now I think it's called Tony and Nick's or something like that, and there's the spinoffs called Tony Luke's, but it used to be really good, and now I feel it's the brand's been so watered down just by expanding as much as it has.
Yeah, Yeah, I just researched while you were talking. It is in fact Lorenzo and Sons. So
Lorenzo, yeah, that's I mean, Lorenzo's used to be like back in the day. Let me tell you about back in the day. You go to South Street and you hang out, and then you get a giant Lorenzo slice at like 1 a.m, and it was a good time right there. But
I feel like it would be better at. I assume the actual Lorenzo's is still functioning, right?
I think so, but South Street's always like one of those things where still functioning is quite I guess a subjective term there.
Yeah.
But South Street's one of those things where it's like it's still going, and a lot of the same places are there, but I wouldn't say it's what it used to be. But yeah, Lorenzo and Sons is still there, still in the same location, over at 3rd and South. So I'm sure the OG is much better than nothing in Xfinity though is like the chickies there. Like, come on, that bucket of crab fries you're paying like $11 for, that ain't the same as any Chicky and Pete's restaurant location.
It's absurd. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Whenever I go to Xfinity Live, I make sure to eat and drink before I go there, and then when I'm there, I'll have maybe one drink, and that's it. Because
the pro tip is to get a good ass hoagie and bring it into the Phillies game and just ride off that for the night. That's the pro tip. Go over, if you're in South Philly on a day that they're open and you can get down there early enough, go over to, oh my God, I got to look it up. There was a hoagie place in my, Lil Nick's, in my old neighborhood. Lil Nick's over at like 13th and Shunk. One of the best hoagies in the city. So friggin' good.
I remember we were talking about Lil Nick's because I was asking you, where can I get the best chicken parm sandwich? Or hoagie or whatever, and you were like, dude, Lil Nick's, that's the place to go.
Lil Nick's cutlet sandwiches are elite. They're so damn good. I miss Lil Nick's. I'm actually like salivating thinking about it right now. And also like Mike's Barbecue, I think is doing like a vodka parm this week, so I want to go try. I want all the parm sandwiches. Like, you put a parm sandwich in front of me, I'm eating it. I had a good one from it's like there's a cheese shop on Passyunk that started doing hoagies in the past couple of years. It's called like Mancuso and Son or something like that. And we had some damn good hoagies from there the one day too. But get yourself a nice hoagie. Don't open it up till you get in the game. They'll let you bring it in. You'll have a much better time. You'll save some dough. You're doing it that way, kids.
Speaking of cutlet sandwiches, you know what was the most heartbreaking thing that's happened to me maybe in my life was the other day. I live right down the street from Liberty Kitchen, and I was trying to get that kale Caesar cutlet,
which went viral. Like, it exploded, and everybody go nuts for it now.
It's so good. And then I went there, on Tuesday. Fucking place is closed on Tuesdays, and I really almost fell to my knees in the middle of Front Street. So
you did a full Darth Vader. No.
Yeah. Kind of like I pulled an Eric Johnson almost. Just fell to my knees and Chickies and Pete's. So
good old EJ right there. There you go.
Yeah.
I always forget he was on this team this year. Like, that's one of those things I'm thinking back to this past season of Flyers hockey. And you mentioned Eric Johnson. I'm like, oh yeah. And he had like a milestone game during the season. The Flyers gave him a little award and everything. Like, it's so friggin' funny to think about because you could ask me in 5 years, like, oh, you remember Eric Johnson as a Flyer? And I go, no, he was a Flyer.
It's a very unspectacular time he had in Philly. So,
but it was still better than Johnny Oduya's time as a Flyer.
That's right, Steve. And don't anyone ever forget that. The most unforgettable thing about Johnny Oduya's time with the Flyers is just it's so forgettable that it's unforgettable, if that makes sense.
Quite forgettable. Oh, Johnny Oduya. What a time to be alive right there. And, we're in quite an interesting time as Flyers fans right now because the Flyers don't have a head coach, and they don't seem to be in a rush to get one. But there are rumors swirling anyway. The company line right now is we're not in a rush. We're going to take our time. We're going to do our due diligence. But every damn reporter out there is trying to manifest Rick Tocchet, noted former ex-Flyer Rick Tocchet, to coach the team. But the rumor's been going back and forth. If you look at this at the beginning of the week, you would think it was a done deal. You'd think any day now, Dick Tocchet is going to be the Flyers head coach. And then it's shifted a little bit. And now you're kind of hearing like, well, Rick Tocchet might be tired. Maybe he's going to take some time off. Maybe he's going to, hang out with his kids. Also, the Pittsburgh job's open, and Rick Tocchet was also a notable Pittsburgh Penguin. So maybe he wants the Pittsburgh job. He does want to come east in the United States. That much is certain. But does he want time off? Does he want Pittsburgh? Does he want Philly? And do the Flyers even want him? Because looking at it, Rick Tocchet's, he's in his 60s. Rick Tocchet, he might not have the same style as, what the Flyers are looking for the next few years,
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of questions, but it's interesting to say the least. So what are your thoughts on this? Number one, the Tocchet rumors, and then we'll get into the rest of this.
Yeah, well, I mean, I feel like we could all kind of see this coming from the moment things started getting weird in Vancouver for Dick Tocchet. I feel like this should not be a surprise. Whenever there's a former Flyer that's like possibly in the running for a Flyers coaching gig or front office gig, you have to just immediately put them toward the top of that list. And it sounds like that's exactly what's happening here. I know that there's a belief that, people are just tired of the former Flyers. I'm very much part of that contingency. I also can't help but be like a little bit curious to see what would it be like with Tocchet here? Like, I don't like, I know that it's not like last season's Vancouver Canucks weren't like a really good team, like they were awesome. They were incredible. And then this year it just fell off. And I don't know if I can put all of that on Rick Tocchet. So like we've seen him coach good teams before, like that has happened. But I haven't seen it consistently enough to feel inspired that this is going to be, if he's the hire. I'm already talking like they've hired him, Steve.
Which is far from the case. I mean,
it's not
just because like you see these rumors where people keep saying like, expect the Flyers to be interested in Rick Tocchet, and I feel like some reporters push it more than others.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean it's a done deal. It doesn't mean it's happening, but people like to act like it's a done deal because he's an ex-Flyer. But like, for me, it's a little dismaying to think that we're breaking the habit in so many ways, but we're not, because like I will say, for all the good things Danny Briere and Keith Jones have done, they have hired a number of ex-Flyers into the front office. If you look around, Patrick Sharp's in the mix now. John LeClair's in the mix now. Like, guys who I love, right? And I do value that they've played hockey more recently, and they probably bring an interesting perspective. Wayne Simmons in the mix. Love Wayne Train, huge fan. But, like, they are former Flyers, and the Flyers have, Jason from BSH has compiled a list before. I have to look at the list of, like, all the ex-Flyers in the organization. There's a lot, and it's the most in the NHL. I think it still is the case. So it is a little dismaying from that perspective. The thing that gets me about Tocchet is he's with Vancouver, 2 years?
Yes.
2 years. And they're talking about him being burnt out. They're talking about him needing time off. And he didn't have a job before that. He was on TNT. Mm-hmm. You're telling me this dude did the job for 2 years and now he's burnt out? I want no part of that if that's the case. I want no part of that.
And what kind of, I was thinking about it from a couple different perspectives. Like, is he tired? Is he burned out, like, working-wise? Because if so, that's a big red flag. Is he burned out because it's like, oh, this is a really aggressive, like, Canadian market. Like, I would like to go somewhere chill. Well, that's a red flag because Philly's not any more chill than
No!
Like,
it might be, like, a minuscule amount. I don't know. I don't know how the Vancouver media is. Like, the Philly media is definitely like for hockey. The Eagles media is intense.
Yeah.
I can't imagine dealing with the Eagles media.
Yeah.
But like for hockey, like it probably is in the upper tier of toughness, but it's not anywhere near like Toronto or Montreal, I assume.
Yeah.
But Vancouver's probably tougher than Philly. But then like in the American markets,
it's not that far away. I can say that.
Yeah, I mean it's not easy. Let's just say that much.
Yeah.
Like it's not easy. Like you don't have Timmy P grilling you every night anymore, talking about a CB and then Dr. Pepper and then grilling you on the Flyers. But like you still got some guys grilling you. You still have some scrutiny out there.
Yeah. Well, and that makes me like, I mean, just those two things. It's just like, well, I mean, if you're burned out, whether it's because of the market that you're in, or you're just literally burned out, like you're exhausted physically and mentally. Both of those things are huge concerns. And like, why would any team want someone who's admitting that openly? You know what I mean? So yeah, I don't know. It's a little interesting. I will say you brought up the Penguins because Mike Sullivan is out, and who, by the way, we're seeing reports that he's going to the Rangers as their head coach, and we're also seeing reports that John Tortorella might be going back to the Rangers to do something with them.
Listen, I'm dismayed about the rumors about Sullivan going there because I wanted Sullivan. I would have praised the Flyers endlessly if they had gotten Sullivan. The Rangers overpaying to get the best coach on the market makes total sense to me, though. However, John Tortorella having to deal with Larry Brooks at the New York Post again makes it all worth it. And also, Tortorella is just such a force of nature that he's going to make himself heard in some way. Yes. Now, he's buddies with Sullivan, so that's a favor. That's a point in his advantage. It doesn't mean he's not going to be disruptive in some way, though, because Torts is going to Torts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, he's going to do his thing for sure. But back to Rick Tocchet. So you brought up the Penguins situation because now that Sullivan's gone, like, would he go to the Penguins? And you have to wonder, like, I mean, he's coached there before. He won a couple of cups with them, not as the head coach, but as an assistant coach. And it's not it's common. I don't want to say common knowledge, but it is obvious that he and Sidney Crosby got along quite well. And so they have a solid relationship, and makes you wonder, like, would it behoove him to just go back to Pittsburgh and coach Crosby again, but this time be the head honcho instead of being an assistant coach? Like, to me, if I'm Rick Tocchet, I think that regardless of the Penguins' dire situation, because they're kind of dead in the water right now.
Oh, they're corpses, baby. I love it.
Yeah. But like, to me, that sounds more attractive than, like, going to coach Sidney Crosby sounds more attractive to me than going to the Flyers and, doing a rebuild, because apparently he doesn't want to be part of a rebuild. And that's another red flag. So like you can say what you will about the Flyers, what their future looks like and this and that, but like, they are still very much, they have the 4th overall goddamn pick this year. It's not like they're close. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, there's Mishkov, which is great, but like, how much more do you need? And
the Flyers are probably at this point, like, they're not going to be competitors next year. They might push for a playoff spot next year. They're not going to be competing. Maybe 2 years from now, we could be talking about the Flyers as serious contenders, but that's, a lot's got to happen in those 2 years. Whereas the Penguins, which I think it's a terrible job. I think they're dead in the water. I don't really think there's much you can do, especially with Kyle Dubas at the helm steering that ship. Like, I don't really think there's a lot you can do to save that. But on paper, at least you have Crosby, you have Malkin, you have Erik Karlsson, you have effective players you can work with. But listen, that job might seem more attractive in the short term. The Flyers' job, if you're willing to grow with this team and lead this team, that's a much, I think, more appealing job in the long run. But if you're in your 60s and you're looking to make a more immediate impact, on paper, the Penguins are a team you can make a more immediate impact with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I agree. And, it still blows my mind a little bit that Tocchet is, what is he, 60? Is he 60 years old? To me, he looks way younger than 60. I don't know why. I
think you're nuts about that. I think he looks like he's rough. He's lived it rough.
I don't think so. I don't know what it is. I feel like he looks like mid 50s. I don't know. Like, for some reason, he just doesn't look 60 to me.
You're saying he looks 5 years younger than what he is?
Yeah. I don't know.
He's 61. You're saying he looks like 4 or 5 years younger than what he is.
He looks 54 years old.
I don't know about that, my guy. I don't think he looks that. I don't know what you're looking at, but when I look at Rick Tocchet, I am not seeing a young man there. But
54 is not young.
Yeah, but I'm not seeing a guy who doesn't look 61.
I do.
I don't know what you're looking at. I think we're looking at different things. I'm not looking at that same thing.
I think it's because he's bald and the smoothness of his head creates the illusion that his skin is very soft and
Oh
not
my
wrinkly.
God.
So maybe
That skin does not look soft.
I know it's not soft. There's no possible. It's Rick Tocchet. There's no way.
It looks like the fucking aggro crag.
Yeah, but like I don't know. For some reason, I just feel like when I see him, I would like if you told me to guess how old he is, I would have been like, yeah, 54, 55.
Oh
I don't know
God.
why.
Oh
Are
my
we
God.
pulling up photos?
Yeah, look at this.
Like I don't know. For some reason, he doesn't look 61 to me. It's his shiny head.
My guy, I don't know.
He doesn't have a ton of wrinkles. He really doesn't.
Okay.
Like, I think Mike Babcock, like Mike Babcock. Mikey Bagpipes, they call him. Mike Babcock. I feel like he has looked 65 years old since 2000.
That's because he has.
Look how old he is. What's his actual age?
Let's see. We're taking at 62. So
he looks so much older than Rick Tocchet. It's not.
I don't know. I think they both look old, just in different ways.
I think Mike Babcock looks way older. I
think Brad Shaw looks way younger than either of those guys.
I think he looks younger.
I thought Brad Shaw was in his mid-50s. I was actually shocked when I found out he was when he was 60. But yeah. I vastly prefer giving Brad Shaw a chance over Rick Tocchet. It's like not even a question to me.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like I think at this point, a lot of people are on that boat, especially like how they performed like toward the end of the season. Seems like the players really, really liked him, and we were seeing good results. We were seeing them win games, and we saw Mishkov really kind of let loose, and like that's fun. Like, could his defensive game suffer for that? Yeah, but like. Dude, again, like we've been talking about this, that's his whole shtick, his offense. Let him play it.
To quote Tommy Lee Jones in The Fugitive, I don't care. That's how I feel about Matvei Mishkov's defense. I don't give one single solitary shit about his defense, okay? I don't care. Just not a factor for me at all. So the juiciest rumor right now with the Flyers coaching is apparently the Flyers, according to Kevin Weeks, interviewed Pat Ferschweiler, who is the Western Michigan coach, who's fresh off an NCAA championship in the Frozen Four, and old buddies with Keith Jones.
Yeah.
Hello, Jonesy.
Yeah, that would be an interesting one too, because it's a different hire, but like it's also like kind of one of the guys because he's like
it's not the same. It's
different. No, it's different, but like there is that like established relationship there between Keith Jones and Pat Ferschweiler. And I mean, we've seen what Ferschweiler has done in college. Like he's turned around a program completely, and now he's just won a national championship, which again, Dave Haxtell, I know people are nervous about like college coaches because of Dave Haxtell. Dave Haxtell never won a natty,
He didn't win shit.
He didn't win a goddamn thing. Ferschweiler has done that. And then plus, look who's on I'm just going to go ahead and say it. Like, look who's on the Flyers. Alex Bump. I think Alex Bump is making the Flyers out of camp. That's like my bold prediction that I'm making right now. Alex Bump, I think, is going to make the Flyers out of camp. Where did he go? What is it? Western Michigan?
Western Michigan,
under Ferschweiler. So, and look at him.
How old do you think this man is? This bald man.
This is a fun game.
How old is the bald man?
See, to me, he looks, I know I'm going to be wrong here. To me, he looks 60 or 61.
I don't think he looks older than Rick Tocchet at all. He does have more of a snarl on his face. I'll say that much. That man is 55.
Sure. But I could, if you told me he was 61 or 62, I'd be like, yeah, that makes sense.
Now, what about this man? How old do we think this man is right here?
I mean, if I had to guess, like 45.
45, easy, yeah. Larry David, of course, is a 77-year-old man right there, but a wonderful 77-year-old man.
The best 77-year-old man.
He is the best 77-year-old man. That's without a doubt right there. Yeah. But, he's doing pretty good right there. Pretty good. I'm all on board for a guy like Ferschweiler because I want somebody that isn't the same 35 guys that always get hired for NHL coaching jobs. Yeah. I'm so over the coaching carousel. break the chain. Let's do something new. So I'm excited about the potential of Ferschweiler. David Carl, as apparently he interviewed with the Chicago Blackhawks and withdrew. Like he was just not into it at all. There's a lot of teams looking for coaches right now. The Ducks are looking for a coach, and they've interviewed somebody who I really would not want the Flyers having any part of, and that's Joel Quenneville, who lock him up. I'm not a fan of him getting back into the NHL in any way, shape, or form. And apparently he's getting a second interview with the Ducks right now.
Yeah, at this point it's going to happen. Like, he's like, the fact that he's even able to interview is kind of ridiculous, but that's where we are. And the hockey world is, they don't really care about this stuff. So they care about winning games and winning cups.
Isn't it great?
So, it feels stinky, feels gross.
Feels really bad.
He's coming back, and I would guess he's going to Anaheim. So
that's what it looks like. I mean, he's got the second interview there. I'm just glad it's not here, because if it was the Flyers, I'd be real pissed off.
That would suck. And it's like, yeah, it's just crazy that he's even able to get another job. But whatever.
It's insane to me. It's insane to me. I hate it. It
stinks. Now where does David Carl go, Steve?
I think he just stays in college is what I'm feeling. It doesn't seem like he's really that interested in an NHL job right now.
Interesting.
What do you think?
I don't know. I'm wondering if he could be, not for the Flyers. I don't think he's going to the Flyers, but makes you wonder, like, could he be interested in Boston?
Boston's an interesting one. Sullivan was mentioned quite a bit for Boston before this New York thing came in. And again, it makes sense, New York, especially because New York went from a team they won the President's Trophy and they missed the playoffs this year. Like, what a fall from grace. So it makes sense that they'd be in that position. But Boston is an interesting position for any coach, because like they did bottom out pretty bad this year in an unexpected way, but they still have David Pastrnak. So like, you still have a legit stud on that team. You have an elite player to work with on that team. The Flyers, you're looking at a team that has a very good player in Travis Konechny, and you have a potential elite player in Matt Van Mishkov, and then you have some interesting pieces, but like that jigsaw puzzle is going to take like 2 years to really come together fully. Whereas like Boston, I could see Boston making a couple moves, maybe Sean Couturier. What?
There's not a Sean Couturier.
No, but it's fun to think about. Look, if anybody could use Coots' service, it's the Boston Bruins up there, right? Come on. Number one center.
They need their Patrice Bergeron back.
They need it.
That's basically what Coots is. So
they need Mr. Chestnut Checkers. I love you, Cootsy. I love my captain, but at the same time, I don't want that contract on the team for the full.
Rough. It's not good.
So. There was an interesting thought brought to considering the Bruins the other day. Considering their goaltender the other day. Apparently, Elliot Friedman on 32 Thoughts was talking about Sullivan maybe going to Boston and what they'd have and wouldn't have. And Friedman said they have Swayman if they don't trade him. Which
interesting.
I thought was an intriguing statement, and stick tap over to the person who brought that to my attention. But that's an interesting statement considering the Flyers, because number one, the Flyers have a great history of getting goalies from the Boston Bruins, see Bernie Parent. But on top of that, the Flyers need a goalie. They need a goalie. It's just flat out the truth. And if they run back Fedotov and Ersson next year, every season ticket holder might sell their season tickets on the spot, if anybody will even buy them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, if their goal is to get Gavin McKenna, then by all means do it.
Right. If you're in Tankathon right now, then go for it.
Yeah, that is interesting, though. Jeremy Swayman's a good player. Makes you wonder, I mean, he wasn't great this year, but the Bruins just sucked this year. It was a rough year for them. I do think they're a better team than what they ended up being. I mean, I know that they were without McAvoy for that time. And I don't know. I feel like they'll be better next season. But still, I don't know, still an interesting team. So I wonder what's going to happen there. But real quick, just about the coaches. Would you say, Steve, that this is a three-headed race for the Flyers coaching gig between Brad Shaw, Rick Tocchet, and Pat Ferschweiler?
Right now, just based on what I've heard, and it's what we've all heard. I haven't heard any different rumors than anybody out there right now, but based on what I've seen, somebody following this team pretty closely, that's what it seems like to me. I don't really see that many dark horses out there. Sullivan, there's never been a lot of smoke behind it. Like, I wish there was more smoke because I really like Mike Sullivan, but I also understand Mike Sullivan wanting to go to an instant contender situation. You know, the Rangers have a lot of great pieces, you know, like we don't have Adam Fox and Shesterkin over here. So immediately the Rangers are in a better spot to contend immediately than the Flyers. So I would understand that from Sullivan's point of view. Also, the Rangers want to pay him a shit ton of money. And the Flyers really need somebody to grow with the team because this is a young team. It might get younger. You know, I'm wildly curious to see what happens at the draft this year as far as trades go and everything. This team could get younger, could continue to sell parts and really be starting young. So having, you know, a guy who's dealt with college kids could be really, really intriguing. But I also really like Brad Shaw. Yeah, I think if it's between those three guys, I want either Firschweiler or Shaw. Tocchet just does not interest me. And not only is it a Flyers retread and a guy who's bounced around a little bit, but also like, it bothers me a little bit that Tocchet's never really stayed in one spot and succeeded for a long period of time. Mm-hmm. You know, even John Tortorella was in Tampa Bay for years crushing it. He did really good in New York for a while. You know, Tortorella had a really good track. If you're a retread, it's at least more comforting if you've stayed somewhere a while and done well. Lindy Ruff is one of those guys, right? He's stayed places for a long time and done well. Not a guy I'd want coaching my team necessarily, but at least you can point to something and say, hey, that's a positive thing about this guy.
Look at Peter Laviolette. Same thing with him. Like everywhere he goes, granted his shelf life isn't that long, but like when he goes somewhere, he turns a team into pretty much a bona fide playoff contender for at least a couple of years. And then
he burns himself right the fuck out.
But he's an effective coach for a couple of years, you know, and that's been consistent pretty much since the start.
Let's look at Tocchet's records here. So Tocchet started off, his first two seasons were Tampa Bay. Coached Tampa Bay to 1933-14 the first year, 34-36-12 the second year. Okay. Then he isn't a head coach again until Arizona in 2017-18. He coaches Arizona for 4 years. The best record that the Arizona Coyotes had in that time was 39-35-8, and they were fourth in their division. The best record he's had, period. So he's actually been with Vancouver since 2022-23 now. So basically 2.5 seasons he's been with them. And that second season was amazing. By far the best of his career. That 109 points. The second best he had was actually this past season with the Canucks where they missed the playoffs with 90 points. So overall, like, he hasn't had like consistently great results. The best he's had is this time in Vancouver.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's interesting because we saw what happened with the locker room in Vancouver. Now, again, we've talked about this before. You can't put all of that on the head coach. I feel like after a while, the players just need to learn to live with each other and just learn how to coexist. They all need to have those little coexist bumper stickers on their cars, Steve.
That always works.
That's what brings everyone together, obviously. But like, it definitely feels like there was a lot more to that Vancouver situation than just Rick Tocchet. And I mean, why? If he was the problem, then why were they begging him to stay? And why did he turn it down? You know what I mean? It seems like there's just something kind of rotten going on in the Vancouver locker room.
Well, they don't have a practice facility. Without a practice facility, you got nowhere to go.
Yeah, exactly. That's why they sucked this year, Steve. They haven't had a practice all season long. I think he just wanted out of Vancouver. He didn't want to deal with that drama anymore. And I think that's what people are saying when they say that he was burned out. That if I had to guess, but like at the same time, I don't know, man. It's concerning because you want to see consistent success. Maybe not for years and years and years and years, like a John Cooper. Like, I mean, obviously, yeah, you do want to see that, but like, at least show me that you have gone to the playoffs for maybe even 3 years in a row. And
right,
Tocchet has never done that.
He's never done that. I'm not in on it. And again, it's not gonna be the end of the world for me if that is who the Flyers hire. But I'm not happy about it. Like that's going to be a real prove me wrong situation if that's who they move forward with. He's got the lack of consistency against him. Combine that with the age. If you have that lack of consistency and you're a younger coach, whatever, that's fine. But the lack of consistency combined with the age, given the opportunities and the ex-Flyer connection, there's just a lot of red flags for me.
Yeah, and honestly, if I had to kind of do a power rankings of who I think deserves the job, I would say it's Brad Shaw, Pat Ferschweiler, and then Rick Tocchet. If Tocchet gets it, which again, I'm kind of expecting at this point, really, I honestly am. Like, I won't be happy, but I'm not going to start flipping cars over in the middle of the street. I think it's certainly going to be, I'm going to go into it expecting unspectacular results because that's what we've seen from Rick Tocchet throughout his coaching career. At least with Brad Shaw and Pat Ferschweiler, there's a little mystique to it where you're like, what could they be? What could the Flyers look like if they're the head coach? Like, there's who's to say? We don't know. They haven't been like full-time NHL head coaches in the NHL before. So I don't know. I think it's interesting. I just feel like a Rick Tocchet hire would be unspectacular. I think that's certainly the word that would describe it. But maybe he would prove us wrong. Maybe next year the Flyers come out and they have 109 points. It's probably not going to happen. But maybe in a couple of years he turns them into something good. Who's to say?
Who's to say? But I am not optimistic that would happen. But again, it's not the end of the world if that's who they move forward with. So stay tuned on that one. I have no idea what the timetable is going to be on the head coach. I imagine before the draft, but the draft is a while away. It'll be a while. Well, let's talk some Yoffs, and then I think we're gonna call it a night after a little Yoff talk. So right now the East is actually set. East first round is completely done with Toronto beating the Ottawa Senators now 4-2 in that series. It's a bummer. Ottawa looked like they actually might tie it up and take that to 7, which would have been Steve Dangle's nightmare and Steve Jaco and Ryan Quigley's dream, because it's always very funny to see Leafs fans freak out. But alas, it did not happen. So the Leafs beat the Ottawa Senators 4-2. Tampa Bay and Florida it did not go well for the Tampa Bay Lightning. The Panthers won that 4-1. Washington and Montreal. Washington handled Montreal 4-1. And Carolina kicked New Jersey's ass 4-1. So honestly, the East was not it for the first round of the playoffs this year.
The East sucked. I'm surprised there were no sweeps. I really thought there was going to be one sweep.
Washington probably could have swept Montreal.
I thought Montreal actually hung in there for a little bit. What surprised, I couldn't believe the Devils won a game. I really was not expecting that at all.
They almost won too, also, because Carolina had to come back. They were down 3-0 in that last game.
Yeah. What a fucking game Shane Gostisbehere had, man.
Oh, man. You got to say, I was living cathartically through Shane Gostisbehere that night, seeing my boy Shane, the Ghost Bear, crush it. Should have kept.
Now that Clope Giroux is no longer in the playoffs, I feel like everyone who is a Flyers appreciator should now be rooting for the Hurricanes in honor of Shane Gostisbehere. Or you
Dr. T.
And Dr. T. Or you could be rooting for the Leafs for Lawton, but that's not as fun.
We don't want the Leafs to have any happiness at all.
No.
We do, however, we love Shane Gostisbehere, should have kept. And BSH community loves Dr. Tulski over there, so hopefully they can prevail. And also all my homies hate the Washington Capitals, so
yeah,
that's a clear rooting interest right there. I will root for Toronto over Florida, though. Florida just won it. A lot of reasons to root against the Panthers. So it's Toronto and Florida, Washington and Carolina. Should be a good series all around, though.
Yeah, I want to see Toronto make it to the Eastern Conference Final and then lose.
Yeah,
real
perfect.
Badly to the Hurricanes. And then also they have to get their Zamboni driver Ebog to win them the game. Because
that's a story.
Wasn't that the Hurricanes Leafs? Wasn't that what it was? I think it was Leafs Hurricanes, so that would be funny.
It would be funny.
Yeah.
Now, the West, however, the West has been very interesting. So, Winnipeg up on St. Louis 3-2, but St. Louis has taken it to Winnipeg in the series.
Yeah, dude, the West being as good as it has been so detrimental to my sleep.
That's why you haven't been. I was like, why haven't you been sleeping? Now it makes sense.
It's killing me because like all the good games are in the West, so they start at 9 p.m. at like the earliest, and I want to watch them, but I can't.
There's a good one going right now. The Wild and the Vegas Golden Knights are playing right now, and Vegas is up 1 with a chance to finish off the Minnesota Wild, which
future Flyer Marco Rossi.
Exactly. I was going to say this is an intriguing one as a Flyers fan because you've been hearing rumors about the Minnesota Wild, like maybe trying to change things up this offseason. And Marco Rossi keeps coming up. And look, Marco Rossi's a great fit for the Flyers center problem. So I think we got to make it happen, Captain.
I think that is totally correct. Also, we have the Kings and Oilers going on at 10 o'clock, which at the time of this recording is starting like right now.
That one bums me out, man, because LA was crushing it in the series, and Edmonton put in Cal Pickard, who is such a meh goalie, and they've turned it all around. Edmonton's up 3-2 in that series now.
Didn't they do this last? Oh no, yeah. Who they do it with last year? Was it also
they do this a lot? They do the old Flyers Leighton Boucher shuffle all the time.
Shuffle's never good. Like. You're not winning a cup with the shuffle.
No,
sorry.
You're not winning a cup with Jeff Skinner. That's for sure.
Yeah.
And Cal Pickard not going to happen as a team who had Cal Pickard play for like 2 games. That's I can tell you. It's not going to happen. But Edmonton's up 3-2. This could be outdated by the time you hear it. It will be outdated because the series won't be 3-2. That's for sure. But it was a bummer. I thought LA had that in the bag, and they don't. They're a young, exciting team. I like LA. I'm hoping that they prevail in this one, but also because it's playing Steel Connor McDavid in 2026.
Yes, he's coming to the Flyers.
Bring him home.
That's a known, inevitable fact.
Bring him home, baby.
Yeah, bring him home. Everyone knows that he's a long-standing Philadelphia resident. So.
Listen, if you've had one cheesesteak, it's home.
Yeah. Do you think Connor McDavid has ever consumed one cheesesteak?
Probably not, actually. He's probably like Nathan McKinnon, where it's just like brown rice and chicken goes in body.
I feel like Connor McDavid's diet is white rice and unseasoned
brown rice.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Because it's the superhero diet. So like every time like when Chris Evans or like Hugh Jackman is like training to be Captain America or Wolverine, all they eat is brown rice and chicken.
Could you imagine, Steve?
I mean, the brown rice part sucks, but I could eat chicken all the time.
Oh, I could eat chicken all the time too. I love chicken, but by itself. And
that's true. I got to get some barbecue sauce. I'm very upset, by the way. My work cafeteria, the whole time I've been there, has had a giant thing of barbecue sauce open to the public, and I'll just bring in like chicken breast and get a little barbecue sauce dipper. They got rid of the barbecue sauce. They got like 2 different mustards now. I'm like, who needs 2 mustards?
Steve, you should just quit.
I might just quit.
Yeah, I mean, what are you doing?
It's bullshit. I can't take it.
Revolt. So
I need to revolt. So right now. Let's see. The Wild have the empty net, 11 seconds. Let's see if they can pull it out. This is a very exciting podcast right here. I'm excited. I'm enjoying the game. It looks like the Vegas Golden Knights are going to move on. So one matchup is set in the West. Congrats to the Knights, although I hate them and I don't want them to succeed anymore. But they're too good. They're simply too good. And let's see, Colorado and Dallas is going on right now. Colorado's up 1-0. Stars leading that series 3-2. You thought Colorado was going to crush in that series, and the Stars have they scrapped together a couple OT wins, and all of a sudden they're on top.
Dude, the Stars. I've been saying I have been betting on the Stars to win the Cup every year for the last probably like 3-4 years now. And this year I was finally like, no, they're not going to do it. They never do whenever I bet on them. So I'm going to pick someone else. And I picked Tampa. Stupid of me because they lost in 5. Idiot. So now, of course, Dallas is performing quite well against, you could argue the Avs are the best team in the playoffs. I think that's a legitimate argument you can make. But they're playing well against them without Miro Heiskanen, without Jason Robertson. They don't even have two of their best players playing, Steve.
It's ridiculous.
Imagine
it's completely ridiculous. And Colorado got Landeskog back.
It's yeah. Now, granted, he's not the Landeskog of old, but he's still the team captain. You know what I mean? So
absolutely. I mean, that's like I also think back to the 2000 Flyers when they got Lindros back and played worse. So sometimes it can be a detriment to your team. So yeah, I mean, the West has been awesome. I'm really excited. At this point, just based on your vibes right now, who are you picking for the Cup based on just your vibes at the moment?
Just vibes right now. Oh, baby. I'm going to say Dallas.
Dallas does suck, but this team, I'm not too mad
Stars
about.
Don't suck. Stars
that's
rock.
true. The Stars are very good. Unfortunately, right now, I'm feeling the Panthers are going back.
The Pants
are good, man. They took it to Tampa. They kicked Tampa Bay in the teeth.
Yeah. Yeah. I could see it being in Dallas, Florida.
I hope not, though. I want some variety. I want Carolina to make it. I think Carolina, not even just thinking of Ghost and Dr. T, but also just like, I think Carolina's just an interesting fan base. I think they could use that jolt. And I don't want Washington making it. No offense to Ovi, but fuck the Caps there. And I mean, the Carolina's like bottom 2 on the division hate chart right there.
Yeah.
The Caps are just slightly above, but Carolina's bottom 2. I have no real hate in my heart for Carolina.
There's no reason to hate Carolina.
Yeah.
When we were talking about the West, I like how we just completely just skipped Winnipeg, St. Louis.
I talked about it just like I think St. Louis has actually been really impressive in the series. Like
they've been better than I thought they were going to be. That's for sure.
Winnipeg should have kicked their ass. And granted, St. Louis did go in hot. Like St. Louis had a pretty hot second half of the season, but they've been scrappy in those games. Like Winnipeg's really had to fight. Like I think it was the first game of the series. They were down and they had to claw their way back into that game to win it. And I thought they were outplaying the Blues for most of that game. But look, the Blues are hanging in there. They're playing some tough hockey right now.
There's got to be something weird going on with NHL teams that are near the Canada-US border because Minnesota and Winnipeg, they are just so useless in the playoffs. Both of them. No matter how good they are in the regular season, they get to the playoffs and they forget how to play hockey. Now, granted, the Jets are still up in the series 3-2, so good for them. But like, they've earned this reputation of not being able to get it done. Maybe this year they'll get it done, but I know that they haven't gotten it done really since Dustin Byfuglien was playing.
Yeah, big buff, playoff performer right there. Much to my chagrin, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. But yeah, Winnipeg. I don't know. There's something about it. Maybe they should give us Kyle Connor. I don't know.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, maybe really nice. Maybe Hellbuck and Connor. Just send them over. Yeah.
Why not?
Why not? Just bring them on over. So yeah, man, some pretty good playoffs out west. East just flat out sucked, but I think second round East is going to be really good.
It should be fun. Yeah, I would think it will be.
Yeah. So one other non-Flyers note I wanted to bring up before we sign off. So there was a little, I don't know if you call this a leak or what, but like
it's a leak.
I guess it's a leak, right? But was it a YouTube channel or something? Anyway, there's something. Yeah. I think it was the YouTube.
It was their
YouTube channel. Kind of leaked the name Mammoth was coming for the team because they named something Mammoth, and it was right there for everybody to see. So it looks like it's going to be the Mammoth. How are you feeling about that name right now, Quigster?
Utah Mammoth. That was my favorite one. So I'm very happy about this. I think Mammoth is, marketing wise, I think it's a really cool name. I think there's a lot of really cool branding ideas you can do with that. Curious to see what the logo ends up looking like. I remember they like unveiled the logos. Like I think they leaked out or something.
No, they had like the final 3 in there, and it was mainly because like you could tell they wanted to use Yeti, but like they didn't get the copyright from the Steel Cup company.
Mm-hmm. I don't think those are going to be the actual logo, like for regardless of what the team name is. I think it's going to be a different logo. So Excited to see what kind of branding the Mammoth are going to have. I think there's a lot of really cool branding opportunities. I think it's just a sick name, Mammoth. Like when I think Mammoth, I think of a big shaggy ass elephant, a woolly mammoth, and it's really fun. I don't know. I think it's a fun mythical creature, but it's
prehistoric.
Yeah. Well, prehistoric. Excuse me. Yeah, but it's unique to that area. They lived there. They're finding their fossils all the time. They're about to reincarnate them, Steve.
Oh yeah, I mean, well, they did bring back the dire wolf.
Yeah, so they're going to bring back the woolly mammoth. And honestly, how do you feel about that?
What, the cloning?
Yeah, bringing back the woolly mammoth.
I mean, I'd like to save some of the animals we have right now, but yeah, I mean, I'm into it. But just don't go full Jurassic Park. You never want to go full Jurassic Park.
Porque no los dos. Save the animals now, but then also bring back the old friends that we made along the way.
I will say, if I did get the opportunity to lay on a breathing Triceratops like Dr. Alan Grant in the first Jurassic Park, I would totally do it. That looks majestic. However, I do not want to encounter the giant pile of Triceratops shit.
I was just about to make that comment. So.
That's a huge pile of shit.
Yeah.
I use that image all the time, by the way.
Are you talking about the Flyers or are you talking about Jurassic Park?
No, I'm talking about the Sixers. No, I think the Mammoth works. I'm still, I'm still sad it's not the Utah low ABV beers, but what are you going to do?
I'd give Mammoth an 8 out of 10.
Yeah, no, Mammoth's solid. I wanted Yeti, but I think Mammoth is quite good. It doesn't roll off the tongue, but I think it's a cool image, and I think it's going to have a badass mascot.
I think it's going to be really, really cool.
Yeah. So. And then I actually had one final question of the night, and this comes from a Blue Sky post from Italian Joe the other day. Italian Joe, Mr. Bean Boy himself. Mr. Bean over there apparently does not care for the playoff handshake to end a series, which I was stunned by. Joe is a newer hockey viewer. He only picked up the sport during the pandemic, but I was still like, that's all, you always think of like Doc Emmerich going, the most vaunted tradition in sports, the handshake line. And it is like, it's a classy way to end the series. These guys who've just been like hating each other's freaking guts are shaking it out. How do you feel about the handshake line, my friend?
I like the handshake line specifically because it presents the opportunity for chaos to ensue. Do you remember the Milan Lucic? Who was it? Was it Dale Weiss?
I think it might have been
the Dutch Gretzky.
Is it Dutch Gretzky?
The Dutch Gretzky. I think they were going through the line, and he got mad at Dale Weiss or someone I can't remember, but there was almost a brawl, and it didn't happen. But the opportunity for chaos is there, and eventually, it's going to happen. Someone's going to get real mad, and there's going to be a fight. So,
Lucic, Doc. Hey, Doc, Lucic. I'm so happy I get to bring Pierre and Doc back into my life. I miss them so much. Pierre, the creepiest broadcaster of all time. Doc Emmerich, the most excited man and the most verbose man to ever man a microphone for the sport of ice hockey. I miss it. I miss all that. You just don't have it like anymore. But I will say TNT consistently crushing it on the broadcast. ESPN, you gotta restrict Bucci to the studio.
Yeah.
And PK Subban. If I ever have to hear a booth with those two guys again, I'm going to lose it.
It's awful.
It's really
so bad. Once again, I'm forgetting the name of the guy who's kind of like the 1B for ESPN.
Because I don't like McDonough either. McDonough's boring as shit.
McDonough sucks. But the other guy, I think his name is Bob something.
Bob.
He's awesome.
He's really good. Yeah.
Awesome.
Bob.
Easily I think he's the best hockey play-by-play guy in hockey right now.
For the national guys?
For the national guys, I think he's easily the best out there. I think he's better than Kenny Albert. Kenny Albert is so overrated.
I know you don't like Kenny Albert. I
don't like Kenny Albert at all.
I think Kenny Albert is the Bob Wischusen.
Yes, Bob Wischusen. He's excellent.
Yes, he's great. Kenny Albert is the definition of replacement level broadcaster to me. That's how I feel about him.
That's why,
which is why I'm fine with him, but he is replacement level.
Yeah, that's why he's always 1B during the NFL season. He's not that good. So,
but I think, but the thing is, he's fine. Like, I don't think he's bad, but he's not good. I like him better than McDonough, though. McDonough is just
Right.
like so boring, and like his Stanley Cup calls are so pitiful. Just this like, this team won the Stanley Cup.
It's
Wow,
awesome.
you made it. It sounds like a goddamn funeral, my guy. What are you
Yeah,
doing?
he's terrible.
He's
Um,
terrible.
yeah.
You know, it's not terrible. Talking hockey with you, my friend.
You too, Steve.
Aw. Well, folks, we are going to wrap it up here because Quigs and I, we're both tired guys right now. We're going to be back early next week. So you know what? Might as well wrap it up at this point right here. So, folks, thank you so much for listening. We love and cherish y'all. If you have any feedback for us, the best place is over on Blue Sky. Where can people find you on Blue Sky, Quigs?
Find me at Ryan Quigs with a Z. Thank you very much.
Oh, wow. You can follow me over at Flyperbole or at Esteban if it's for hockey purposes. Make it Flyperbole. Follow Flyperbole over on TikTok and Instagram as well. Follow Broad Street Hockey and all that fun stuff. Be sure to like and subscribe and rate on Spotify, over on Apple Podcasts, over on a Stitcher still a thing. I think it's still a thing. Why not? Audio Trough, 3 Men in a Podcast, all that good shit. And YouTube has been a big one for us lately. So subscribe on the YouTube, like the video, please, and thank you. And all that good stuff. I'm getting loopy. It's time to get out of here. Folks, thank you so much. And until next time, in the words of the great Gene Hart, good night and good hockey. Yeah. Wow, 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 wow.